Hi everyone, George Farmer here, content creator for Tropica Aquarium Plants. Super excited about today's Tropica Live, all about how to set up an easy Christmas aquascape.
Yeah.
So they're actually pre-packaged up, ready for you. They're going to go obviously in another box, but you actually get a proper wrapped Christmas gift. I think Radu actually wrapped them himself, didn't he? Yeah. So 5 of these to give away during the stream. What have we got here?
Yep. Tropica Live notebook.
Tropica Live towels measuring 30 centimetres by 1 metre, but they do shrink apparently a little bit. Is that right?
They do, yeah. They do shrink. Don't wash them at 60.
Pens.
Pens.
Mugs.
Yeah.
And there's polo shirts as well.
Yes.
Awesome.
And the water bottles.
And water bottles.
Yeah.
With 2 plant species, Microsorum Windelov and Pogostemon helferi. This Christmas aquascape is completely your idea, the design and everything, and what kind of inspired you to go for a Christmas themed aquascape for this Tropica Live?
Well, last year I made one for Tropica, which was high energy, advanced plants, CO2 highlight, and this year I thought let's do something completely different. Let's go really, really easy. Yeah. Something anyone can recreate at home. Yeah. Easy plants, something you can get the kids involved, the family involved, a little bit silly as well, because it's Christmas.
Let's move on to the aquarium setup, kindly provided by Jewel, very well-known German aquarium brand. And it's a really good all-in-one system. It comes complete with lighting, internal filter, which actually contains the heater as well, so it's nicely hidden. It's got the background, so that's hidden as well. And this is actually an upgraded light, isn't it? It is. So this is the LED version. Yes. I think it normally comes supplied with the T5 fluorescents. They're actually LEDs now. Yeah. Oh, are they? Yeah. But they're fitting of a fluorescent. T5 tubes. Okay, good. But it's LED bulbs. Yeah. So, but this is programmable, so you can program the spectrums, ramp it up, ramp it down, etc. But this is an additional add-on. You do get the regular LED tubes with when you buy it normally. Yeah. And what's the difference between the powder and the regular? It's the grain size. Okay. Powder is much smaller grain size. Yeah. So it's great for in vitro plants. Tissue culture. Tissue culture, exactly. And plants that are a little bit more delicate. Smaller roots, smaller plants. Okay. Makes sense. And also, I guess if you're doing a really small aquarium, like a nano, you're going to get a better sense of scale, aren't you? Because if you've got these relatively large grain sizes, it's going to make the aquarium look smaller than it already is. I always use powder if the aquarium's smaller than 60 centimetres on the front dimension. That's a good rule of thumb. Yeah, it is good. Do you think it's time for another giveaway? I reckon it's time for another giveaway, Yep. So, on the plant list, we have the moss balls. What are the moss balls made of? That's a good question. It is a good question. I think they need a hint. It might not be moss. It might, no. If you need a hint, then there is always the Tropica website. Tropica.com. Are we going to be using CO2 injection on here? The only thing that would really need it is the Christmas moss. Does it need CO2? Well, if you have a high enough light, you don't. And I'm actually really impressed with the specs on this light. Yeah. So we actually wouldn't need CO2 on this one? I don't think so. Although the plants would absolutely benefit. They would. You know, it's understandable, some hobbyists, especially beginners, are a little bit reluctant to use CO2 injection. So if that is the case, then just try to stick to the Tropica's easy category plants, which is the green label. And you should be able to grow most of those without CO2. In the spirit of Christmas and family fun, I got my son to help me make the Christmas tree. And it's made of like a plastic mesh. Yeah. That you can just get anywhere. And we used Christmas moss. And I don't think we show how we made the shape, but we folded the mesh. Yeah, like in a cone shape. Yeah, like a cone, like a megaphone. Used strips. What do you call those in English? Strips. Cable ties. Oh yeah, zip ties. Yeah, cable ties. Yeah. And then we put the moss on the tree. Okay. And I think most of it's shown on the video actually.
So this is the Christmas tree. We've got Christmas moss tied onto the framework with just sewing thread. Not cotton, synthetic sewing thread.
Why not cotton?
Cotton rots underwater.
Ah, okay.
And it rots away in...
Because it's a natural fibre.
Exactly, and after 2 to 4 weeks it's gone completely,
okay.
And all the moss will fall off then.
Okay.
And then we have a little star. What do we use in the end for the
This
star?
is Pogostum and Helferi.
Helferi.
And interestingly, its nickname is Little Star.
Little star.
Because of the leaf shape. So it's a perfect star.
It is.
For our Christmas tree.
And we did get a little bit silly in the preparation for this. And we've taken some Rotala Atra and just put it on. And when it's underwater, these open up and look like little Christmas decorations.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I think it's great too.
I really love it.
It's fun.
I never thought I'd love an underwater Christmas tree. No. But I do now.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
But that should.
And they've got little lead weights as well attached to the bottom of the mesh, so that can keep it anchored down. So here we have the Nymphoides, what's the full name?
Nymphoides, is it?
Nymphoides hydrophila Taiwan. Okay. And it doesn't get it actually gets a lot bigger than this, doesn't it?
Does
the leaves get a lot bigger. It's quite a fast grower.
Well.
Does it grow like a long stem and then the big leaves at the end?
It does, yeah.
But a fast grower, easy category.
Easy category.
It doesn't need CO2 injection. No. A great space filler.
It is, and it's quite pretty.
Yes. Viggo Palustra Super Red. Very, very easy. Actually, one of the few red stem plants that will stay relatively red, even in lower levels of lighting. It is a very, very fast grower, and it branches readily, and so it's quite a brute actually, especially in a high energy setup. So you will need to maintain it frequently by trimming, etc., maybe some replanting. But it is easy category. It's a great plant for adding a focal point because of its red coloration. So consider carefully where you're going to put your red plants because it is a very high impact colour, a potential focal point. So planting super easy with Ludwigia. You just grab your couple of stems, or however many stems, and you just pop it in with your tweezers.
Yeah. I love this plant.
It is one of my go-to stems, I have to say.
Yeah, it grows so fast and it just looks so pretty.
And it's really great for a newscape because it's a fast grower. And what we find is the faster the growing the plant, the less chance of algae you get. Yeah, so it's a really good idea to plant as heavily as you can with a lot of fast growers. It's a really good tip. But I wanted to show you a really cool product that Tropica do. These are the mini pots. So these are actually coconut fibre pots, environmentally sustainable, a natural product. And the great thing about these is that these have been grown, as you can see, these have been grown hydroponically in the greenhouses here. So the roots have actually grown through the coconut there. And this is the genius. All you have to do to plant these, in fact what I'm going to do is just remove some of those long roots there. That's going to stimulate new root growth. And all you do is literally get your coconut pot.
I put one in. And
then you pop it in. And it's just the easiest plant in the world, not only to prepare and plant, but to actually grow. Limnophilis sessiflora is actually, not many people know this, is one of the first aquarium plants I succeeded with.
Aww.
Yeah. But I actually find it, I think it's such a fast growing weed. I actually find it really high maintenance.
It can take a lot of trimming.
Yeah. But it's a really great plant for new aquascapes in particular.
It is.
It grows so fast, it uses a lot of nutrients up, so it helps to prevent algae. I'm a beginner. Do you have any suggestions for tanks and plants? Well, this is a great suggestion here. This is a good beginner tank. It was my beginner tank and I had great success with it. And if you just go on the tropica.com website, there, if you just search category by easy, any of those. Yeah. If you get this system here, you can grow any easy aquarium plant from Tropica. That is my suggestion.
I think this light is probably actually, it might even grow the advanced ones.
Probably.
This upgraded light.
Yeah, it's 35 watts or so.
It is, it's
so
quite
it's
powerful.
1 watt of LED per gallon, which is actually quite a lot of light.
It is a lot.
Yeah. So this is the Lagonendra Neiboldii Red, very similar to Crypts in terms of its leaf shape and coloration, but actually grows as a rhizome. I don't know if you knew that. It doesn't send out runners like Crypts do. But it's a beautiful plant and it actually will turn more of a burgundy red colour under more intense lighting. Relatively low maintenance, can get quite tall depending on the conditions as well. Definitely appreciate a nutrient-rich substrate like we've got here with the Tropica Aquarium soil. So just a really interesting plant. I really like it. I've used it a few times.
Is it one of the newer plants?
It is relatively new,
Yeah.
but from the Tropica list, yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'll
Yep,
just
I'll
grab a
plant
portion of this and you can carry on with that.
Yep.
So here we have our pre-prepared Marcellea hirsuta. This comes as Tropica 1-2 Grow. And the great thing about 1-2 Grow products, especially the ones that are grown in the liquid media, is that it's already adapted to its underwater growth. So as soon as you put it in your aquarium, it's going to want to start growing. Whereas if you buy the regular Tropica pots, most of them are grown hydroponically and they have to go through a transitional stage, which is fine because the plants, if you've got healthy plants to start with and a good system, that's absolutely fine. But a distinct advantage of the 1-2 Grow tissue culture is they start to grow really well from the start. Other advantages is that you get so many plants for your money. You have a small pot, but there's so many plants packed into them. And also you're guaranteed to be free from algae, disease, pest snails, and pesticides as well. So loads of advantage of the Tropica 1-2 Grow. And the range of the Tropica 1-2 Grow is growing all of the time. This is an interesting point. So if we go into camera 3 again, you might be able to see there's different leaf shapes. So there's like more of a rounded leaf, but then there's more of a clover leaf.
Yeah.
And the clover leaf is actually immersed growth.
Okay.
And then the rounded leaf is submersed growth.
Okay.
So when it's growing in the liquid media, the bits of leaves that are popping out of there are growing immersed. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, but you can physically see the difference, characteristics of the underwater versus overwater. Oh, we have a question from Stephen 589. Should I get the 1-2 Grow if I'm a beginner? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, stick with the easy category if you don't have CO2 injection or lower levels of lighting. Make sure you buy the pots as fresh as you can. Yeah. I always suggest strike up a friendly relationship with your store owner. Ask them when they get their next shipment of plants in. You can even request specific species, specific plants if you wanted to. Most store owners will happily order in for you. But absolutely, 1-2 Grow are very appropriate for beginners.
They are.
You're going to get less chance of melt. So I think that puts a lot of people off. If you don't have ideal conditions and you buy a regular pot, as it tries to adapt from its out of water growth to its underwater growth, you can get a lot of melting, can't you?
You can.
Because you don't get that with the 1-2 Grow. No. And if you stick with the easy species, it's hard to get it wrong, to be honest with you.
It is. Yeah. And there's a lot of easy ones in there now.
There is. So you start planting.
I'll start planting.
I'll have a little chat about the beautiful Cryptocorini albida brown. It's quite a small crypt, one of the smaller ones that we do here at Tropica. I think the only other smallest one is probably Parva, Crypt Parva.
Yeah.
But it will get bigger than this. It can grow to sort of 15 centimetres tall, depending on 12 to 15 centimetres tall, depending on your conditions. But it has a very unique narrow leaf with a beautiful brown coloration, which will actually, under good lighting, you can get a really kind of diverse mix of colours in the leaf, like going from speckly green, speckly reds. It's a really, really beautiful plant. Slow growing. It's medium category, so it will benefit from more light and CO2 injection. But yeah, it's a great plant, really beautiful, and I love it, like I do most crypts actually.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have a quick chat about this beautiful carpeting plant, Liliopsis brasiliensis. And I think we have a video on that about how to prepare the tissue culture version. This is the potted version, which is distinctly longer, bigger leaves than you'd find in the tissue culture. But it's actually an easy carpeting plant.
It is. That's why I picked it.
Yeah, and it's slow growing, so it's actually a really kind of nice, sustainable carpeting plant. Yeah. When you see it, a full lush carpet of Liliopsis actually looks really beautiful. So we've got a new product.
We do have a new product
involving coconut shells and plants, and I'm going to go and show you them right now.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Off you go, George.
Here we go. Okay, so I think here we are, some beautiful Hygrophila pinnatifida attached to our coconut caves. So it's a brand new product from Tropica. As you can see, we've got the Hygrophila pinnatifida grafted to the coconut shell. And the unique thing about Hygrophila pinnatifida is it can be grown as a stem plant, planted in soil or substrate, but also attached as an epiphyte, which you've got here attached to the coconut shell. So here at Tropica, we graft the pinnatifida using an elastic band, and then over time those roots are going to creep over the coconut shell and attach really securely. And it's a great focal point plant, a great addition to any aquascape where you want to encourage, shelter breeding behaviour with a pair of fish, for instance. So a really great addition to an aquarium. Let's go and take a look at some more coconut shell products. Okay, so now we're going to look at some coconut shell with Anubias, Barteri and Nana attached. So very similar principle to the Hygrophila pinnatifida. It's attached to the coconut shell with an elastic band, and then over time these roots and the rhizome are going to self-attach to the coconut shell. So exactly the same principle. We have a cutout here for any shrimp or fish that might want to use this as a shelter for breeding, etc. But a really great addition, instant impact to any aquascape, perfect for beginners. Anubias nana, one of the most easy plants to go for. Okay, so here we have our Hygrophila pinnatifida and our Anubias nana attached to coconut. Let's head back to the studio and choose which is our favourite.
Hi again, George.
Hi, here we have our beautiful coconut shells. One with Hygrophila pinnatifida and one with Anubias nana.
With a flower.
With a flower. So Anubias is one of the few species that will flower underwater. Bucophilandra does as well, quite prolifically. Yeah. What's your thoughts on? Do you like them?
I like them.
Yeah.
I think, and they're fun. They're a bit silly, but I like them.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can, if you plant things so that you've got the plant in shadow, but some light just hitting the flower.
Yeah.
You get this really nice little spotlight.
Yes.
In the tank.
Yeah. They're a nice feature, aren't they? Okay. So, question for you guys: what do you prefer, the Anubias nana or the Hygrophila pinnatifida? Quickly write your answers now.
Yeah.
And then whoever gets the most votes in the next 30 seconds, we'll go for that one.
Oh, a question.
Oh, we've got a question. George, my aquariums are in my room, so I like them to be aesthetically pleasing, even though I also want to breed in them. How can you make that work together? That's a great question.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that one over to you, Sarah, because you're a bit more of an expert on breeding fish than I am.
Have you got the breadfish?
Not deliberately.
Not deliberately. Well, I would actually say, are we talking about fish or shrimp? Should we do both?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shrimp, I actually keep shrimp with fish that are big enough to eat them. So with shrimp, I would always have something like moss where the baby shrimp can hide.
Yes.
And then I actually have stem plants planted next to that, very, very densely planted, so my fish can't swim through them.
Oh, okay.
And so the babies tend to survive and grow up the first few weeks in the moss.
Yep.
Then they move to the stem plants and they learn about the danger of the fish.
Okay.
And can run back and hide.
Interesting.
And shrimp I find are really easy to breed.
Oh, yeah.
I give them a mineral pellet every week.
Yeah.
If there's not much algae, I give them some complete food, algae food for shrimp. Otter Plus, I haven't managed to breed yet.
No, they can be quite delicate as well, can't
They are.
Yeah.
Oh, they're bomb-proof for me.
Yeah.
Breeding is meant to be quite difficult to trigger.
Okay.
But that's actually why I got my Corridorus,
Yeah.
because it's meant to trigger the Ottos.
I'm gonna go on another tangent about this. I would actually encourage you to consider biotope aquascaping.
Yes.
Because you can create a beautiful layout but still make it an absolutely perfect home for the fish, which would then encourage breeding.
You can.
So if you look at the previous Tropica Live I did with Thai Streetman, it was a great example of a biotope aquascape. So we're filling up a bit more rapidly now. I think that Christmas tree looks amazing.
It's cute.
Let's move this light forward a touch. What, have you got a question?
We haven't done snow.
Oh, we haven't done the snow.
We haven't done the snow.
I'm getting carried away.
You did. The Christmas silliness. Shall I do the snow?
You do
or
the
do you want
snow.
to-
Yeah,
I do
I
the
don't want
snow?
to take your fun away.
Yeah. This was actually Radu's idea. Radu was a bit obsessed with Christmas.
Radu's like, this is his whole thing. It's all for Radu.
All for Radu.
Oh, that's great. I think it just shows you can create something really fun, really beautiful with a relatively simple setup. Easy plants, some medium plants, an all-in-one system, built-in lighting, heater, filtration, cabinet, everything you need. And I think it's a great example of what you can achieve. And hopefully, have fun with your family while doing it as well.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone again. I've had great fun. I hope you have too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheerio.
Bye.